Before you step into this story, the old man said, his voice warm like a crackling fire, don't forget to subscribe and ring that little bell so you never miss the sound of another tale finding its way to your heart. He leaned back on his old wooden chair, eyes reflecting the faint glow of the lantern. Now, listen carefully. This one is about a boy who once borrowed the rain. Now, the village of Ahalapur. It was a very interior village of India. The village of Ahalapur had forgotten when the last rain was and what rain sounded like. For 3 long summers, not a single cloud had dared to shed the cracked earth. The ponds were bone dry. The wells echoed hollow when buckets hit the bottom. The soil had turned to dust, and the dust had turned to despair. Even the wind, once playful, moved slowly, tired of carrying prayers that no one seemed to hear. In this village lived a 12-year-old boy named Ravi. He was small, thin as a bamboo reed, with eyes that looked older than his years, eyes that still held hope even when everything around him was dying. Every morning he walked 3 miles to the last surviving wall, balancing a clay pot on his head. Sometimes the pot would return home half empty, sometimes it returned only with the smell of dry earth. But Ravi never complained. He always asked his mother, maybe tomorrow the sky will remember us. His grandmother would shake her head and say, when God forgets to send rain, remind him gently, not with anger, but with kindness. One evening, when the horizon burnt red and the fields shimmered with the ghost of long-lost corpse, Ravi climbed the old hill beyond the village. At its peak stood the ancient banyan tree, its root like frozen rivers crippling the earth. Beneath it was a pond, or what used to be one. Now it was only a hollow ball of cracked clay. Ravi sat there for a long time, staring at the empty pond. He took out a small brass ball from his satchel, his father's last gift before he had gone to the city and never returned. The ball gleamed faintly under the dying light. He whispered to the emptiness, If if I could borrow some rain, I promise I will take care of it. I'll share it with everyone. I will return it when the fields are green again. The wind stirred. The banyan leaves rustled as if someone had heard. For the first time in months, Ravi felt a cool breeze brush his cheek. He smiled, not realizing that the wind was listening. That night, Ravi dreamed. He stood at the middle of a vast grey ocean, not of water, but of swirling clouds. Lightning cracked across the sky, but the thunder sounded gentle, like laughter. And from within that light stepped an old man. His beard was mid the rain, his cloak was mist, his eyes endless and kind. "You called me," said the man. "Few do it kindly any more." Ravi trembled. "Are you the rain?" The old man chuckled, droplets falling from his beard. "Something like that. I water the hearts that still believe." I I just wanted to borrow a little," Ravi said. "Only enough to fill our ponds to make the earth smile again." The man looked thoughtful, then dipped his hand into the cloudy sea. When he pulled it out, a few drops shimmered on his palm. "Rain is not something you own, little one, but I see your heart. You may borrow it, but remember, what is borrowed must be shared." Before Ravi could answer, the man blew gently and the world turned into the silver mist. When Ravi woke up, his roof was whispering, "Raindrops?" Small at first, hesitant then heavier, joyful, like drums of celebration on a tin roof. He ran outside barefoot. The air smelled of life again. The fields were breathing. Women laughed, children squealed. The old men folded their hands and looked up at the sky as though welcoming a long lost friend. But Ravi stood quietly, staring at the brass ball in his hands. It was filled to the brim, overflowing with cool, clear rainwater. The dream had been real. He whispered, "Thank you," to the cloud, and the wind answered with a small murmur. For days the rain stayed. The whales filled in, the buffaloes wallowed in muddy pools, the farmers sang as they sowed their fields again. But one evening the rain stopped, as suddenly as it had come. The sky cleared, and for the first time in weeks the stars looked down curiously at the world below. Ravi climbed the hill again with his brass bowl. The pond under the banyan was full now, reflecting the moon. He sat by its edge and whispered, "Thank you for keeping your promise. I will keep mine too. I'll share what I borrowed." He took a handful of the water from his bowl and let it pour back into the pond. The surface rippled, glowing faintly under the moonlight. The next morning, the neighboring village woke up to a surprise. Rain. It swept across the valley like a second miracle, soft and steady, touching lands with that had been dry for years. When the elders gathered to thank the gods, Ravi simply smiled and looked at his brass bowl sitting quietly beside him. He understood now what the cloud man had meant. Rain that is borrowed for oneself fades quickly. Rain that is shared lasts forever. Years passed. Ravi grew taller, his hair darker, his hands stronger. He became a farmer, one who never planted without saying thank you to the sky. Every monsoon, he would walk up to the hill with the same brass bowl and place it beneath the banyan tree. He never tried to fill it anymore. He only let the rain fall into it naturally, whispering to the clouds, "You gave me once, I am returning it, a little at a time." Villagers often laughed at his ritual, but whenever the rains come late, Ravi's village still received the first drop. It was as if the sky still remembers his kindness. Many years later, when Ravi was old and grey, a child from the village asks him, "Grandfather, is it true that you once borrowed rain from the sky?" He smiled. Eyes twinkled like puddling in sunlight. "Oh, stories travel faster than wind. But yes, I once did. Only because I asked gently." The borrowed the boy frowned. "Can I borrow it too?" Ravi chuckled softly. "You already are, my child. Every drop you drink, every seed that grows it, it's all borrowed. Just promise me one thing. When you have enough, share it." He looked up to the darkening clouds, as if greeting an old friend. That night, the rain returned once more, gentle, rhythmic, and endless.